Welcome to Kentucky Roll Call.
Here's a swing and a drive to deep left. Back goes Nixon. Looking up. Daly wins it. Daly wins it. Daly wins it.
With Walker and Peak.
Woodson from the gun. Play fake. Step it up. He's throwing deep down the near sideline. He's got Johnson. 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Kentucky!
When Mitch called me and talked to me about being the head coach here at Kentucky, I understand the assignment. We are here to win banners.
Back outside. This is the point where he always hits it. Oh! Aaron Harrison beyond belief.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday to you, January 30th, 2026. You're listening to Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM. TJ Walker, remote, producer Matt in studio, and I believe Stephen Peak also remote as he is on his way to Fayetteville for Kentucky's game against Arkansas tomorrow night at Arkansas. That's why he's on the road, 6:30. It's a big one for the Kentucky Wildcats taking on former head coach and Hall of Fame head coach John Calipari. Stephen Peak, do we got you? How are you?
I think so. Jack Pilgrim and I are in the car right now. We are in Illinois. We're about 31 miles from East St. Louis, so we got quite the drive ahead of us. It's about 9 hours, and we're about 5.5 hours away. So we get to do about a, Jack, 22-hour round trip to go see the Cats pull off the upset, TJ. Do you have any faith that could happen?
I really haven't been more pessimistic about a Kentucky basketball game probably ever in my life. I really don't think there's any chance Kentucky wins tomorrow. And there's been a couple times where I've really gotten my mind made up that Kentucky's not going to win a game. And to be fair, there have been a couple of those times I was wrong. I'll go back to another Arkansas game on the road. When Kentucky played Arkansas down in Fayetteville with Oscar Tshiebwe, I really felt terrible about that game. Kentucky won it outright, so that was exciting. And then more recently, and this team was good. It wasn't anything necessarily about the team last year. I didn't think they really had a chance against Missouri at any point during the game last season in Columbia, and they won that one. So this is even more than both of those, however. I have little to no optimism for UK's game against Arkansas. Kentucky, I don't think is that great of a team. Obviously, the injuries have played a big role in that. We've talked that to death this week. I legitimately just think Arkansas is a really good team. That's not being a Cal butt slapper. They just have a group of players that I think are good basketball players. So it's a tough challenge. And then secondly, Cal wants to stick it to Kentucky. He's got the home crowd in his back pocket this go around. I can't believe the spread was 7.5 to open things up.
Well, like the Vanderbilt game, that might just be easy money, TJ. I think I might have to put some money. And it's an emotional hedge. If Kentucky ends up winning the game, I'll gladly pay, $25, $30 to watch that happen and be wrong with my bet. But I'm kind of shocked by that also. And, I wonder if they can get up by 16 or so again. Like Kentucky's trailed by, 16 in every single true road game this season. I wonder if Cal just, lays it on us. That's what I'm kind of worried about, that there might not be sniffing any comebacks. Even the Vanderbilt game, Kentucky, only lost the second half by 5 points. I don't know, Vanderbilt kind of laid off the gas. I have a feeling maybe Calipari won't do that. And you mentioned it on the show all week. His players play for him. They do, and that worries me also. They obviously, after struggling all year last year, they came into Rupp Arena and Carter Knox hitting threes at the buzzer. What the hell is going on? So, I would say that there's usually a point on a Friday before a Saturday game where I have talked myself into Kentucky pulling it out. And it's noon, and I haven't gotten there yet, and I don't think I'm going to by 6:30 tomorrow. So, very pessimistic right now. Maybe the most pessimistic I've been for a Kentucky game this season, because even Gonzaga, I went into that game, Jalen Lowe's going to play? Maybe we got a shot. I think in the Pope era especially, this is the first time that I'm just have accepted that Kentucky's going to lose. So that just means, TJ, they can't hurt me, so maybe they can surprise me.
And I hate that some people are probably listening to this show and they're like, hey, I thought this was a Kentucky show, and we're in the first 10 minutes and they're talking about how we don't have a chance tomorrow and that Kentucky's going to lose. We would love to be wrong. We would. But why, based on what you've seen from this Kentucky basketball team, especially this week, why would you think that they're going to go on the road into a hostile environment and win the game? Well, they did it against Tennessee. Arkansas is a better team than Tennessee. They're built differently. It's a worse matchup for Kentucky. And then that doesn't add in the added emotional benefit to Arkansas. I don't think Kentucky gets the same emotional benefit playing against Calipari. None of these guys played for Calipari. None of these dudes were really recruited by Calipari, with the exception of maybe Jaden Quaintance, who is on the bench and not going to play likely again this season or ever again in a Kentucky jersey. But it means a lot to some of these Arkansas guys. It means a lot to the Arkansas head coach and his coaching staff. It means a lot to DJ Wagner. It means a lot for guys that were committed to Kentucky, were excited about the Kentucky dream, but in their mind, they view Kentucky as the bad guy because they got rid of the coach that they had agreed to play for at the University of Kentucky. Billy Richmond, Carter Knox. These are guys that, as you mentioned, Stephen, and as we mentioned throughout this week, they're going to play incredibly hard for Cal, especially tomorrow night in a game that they realize how big it is for their head coach. And then on the flip side, you have a Kentucky team that will gladly lie down and wave the white flag for their coach. They've done it about 6 or 7 times this year where, okay, all right, time to come back. Oh, boy, they're not coming back tonight. And, yeah, a couple times they have been able to battle back, but I think it's a different team without Cam Williams. I think that it had a pretty low ceiling even with him. Now without him, it's a struggle. Each and every game is going to be a struggle. The winnable games, they're going to have to grind them out. And then the games that don't feel so winnable, I feel like they're going to have to do a lot just to keep it somewhat competitive. And I'd say the only good thing that I feel about this game is that Vegas thinks it's going to be a close game. But they thought Tuesday was going to be a close game in Nashville, and it was not. It was an absolute blowout. So I think Vegas is just wrong with this team. I don't think that they've totally adjusted all of the injuries and what it means for this group. And then I really can't believe it. On the road, 7.5-point favorites. FanDuel has it at 6.5. If Arkansas didn't win this game by double digits, I legitimately would be surprised. And I hate that I have that mindset going into it, but I'm not just going to lie to try to make UK fans feel better. This is a tough one for the Cats.
Well, I got Jack Pilgrim here with me. Maybe Jack can make us feel better. Jack, what are your thoughts going into this game?
No, sorry. No, I totally agree. Like TJ nailed it. Like I feel as pessimistic about this current setup with this group more so than I can ever remember. Like the injury situation is unbelievably problematic. The team's identity is a serious issue, confusing. It's something new. You're right when you feel like you have a pulse on this team and like, oh, well, there's the identity. They go throw something completely, total 180 the next game. So there's no rhyme or reason, no consistency, no fluidity on like, okay, well, we're trending some direction. It is a total crapshoot every time, and there's no way to gain real momentum doing that. Certainly not in this type of environment. Certainly not against this head coach who is going to be obviously prepared. What's so funny, all the jokes that we threw about their preparedness with that staff and the assistant help and all that stuff. I feel very confident that they're going to be more prepared going into this matchup than Kentucky is going to be going into this matchup. So you can't even throw this team typically responds well to adversity. If you go down the list, every single big-time loss this team has taken, they've usually stacked a second one on top of it. Louisville to Michigan State, North Carolina to Gonzaga, Alabama to Missouri. Like, nothing up to this point suggests that they are due for a massive response, certainly not coming off that 25-point embarrassment in Nashville. So, we're 3 for 3 on pessimistic takes.
All right, Kentucky, make us look like idiots, right, TJ?
It would be a fun Monday show. It'd be a fun Monday show because, one, we can just be happy that they got the win. And then we're not too proud. We'll make fun of ourselves. We'll eat crow, and it'll just be a double duty. We'll have fun with the Cats. We'll have fun at our own expense. I hope for that Monday show. I pray for that Monday show. I would love to be wrong. If nothing would make me gladder than to be wrong. But Jack, as somebody, and Peak, obviously you as well, that has watched a lot of college basketball this year, even if you took away the head coaching angle, even if this was a neutral site game, Arkansas has better guards at the current makeup. They have better wings at the current makeup. They're tougher and more physical inside. For as well as Malachi Marino has been growing in the month of January, this is going to be a tough challenge for him, and nobody feels solid about Brandon Garrison coming up in backup duty when Malachi either gets in foul trouble or just needs a break to catch his breath or whatever it may be. So Arkansas is better on the front court. They're better at the wings. They're better in the backcourt. They're a better three-point shooting team, which that was a big thing that people said about Calipari. But I would take this group over our group from outside shooting perspective. It's not an ideal matchup. They have more NBA star power. They're better defensively. I don't know. Any way you break it down, it's just this is not how it's supposed to be in a Kentucky-Arkansas matchup. Regardless of who the head coach is, regardless of what's going on with the rosters, you shouldn't look at an Arkansas-UK matchup and say, oh boy, 1 through 5, I maybe would take Arkansas at every position. And that may be a bit of a stretch, but I'm huge on Billy Richmond, so I don't know if it is for me personally. It's even without the emotional angle, even without Tuesday's beatdown, even without that a great point that this team will stack losses. It's not like, oh, I'm so mad we lost at home to UNC and our next opportunity is Gonzaga with a home crowd in Nashville. Let's go show them what we're about. No, dude, they got pounded. So there's a chance what they did Tuesday, they'll just do again on Saturday, tomorrow night. So, again, if you're out there and you're optimistic about the game, if we're missing an angle, Gameday Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. Vegas thinks it's going to be close. That's good. We'll take that. But besides that, any other analysis of this game, it leans heavy hog. And I thought I got enough heavy hogs on the Game of Thrones episode on Sunday night.
Jack had something else he wanted to say.
Well, and you can't even – you brought up that Oscar Tshiebwe game down in Fayetteville the last time. Like, that game, that was the Antonio Reeves game where you went into that going, well, what do we have to lose? We don't even, like, Antonio Reeves is playing point guard. Like, what do you expect? You're not going to go down and, like, have any type of, well, here's the position breakdown. Here's what we do a little bit better. No, you went into that with just total have to lose other than go down there. Like, we know we're going to go take that loss. What do we have to lose? Even last year, that Knoxville game where Kentucky was totally just ravaged by injury, we kind of had that same carefree. You know what? Like, everybody expects us to go lose. Why not? This game has more of a desperation feel to it of, well, if Vanderbilt's already gotten us that way, how bad can it get in Fayetteville? It's not a carefree. We're not playing loose. We're not playing with house money. That I honestly think had we beaten Vanderbilt, we probably were going to go into this Fayetteville matchup going, hey, at minimum we split the week. You're already riding a 6-game winning streak into here. Well, probably lots of disadvantages, and Arkansas is a better team on paper. Why not go in there and play loose and free and all that stuff? Now the pressure is back on. All the goodwill that we saw built back up with that 5-game winning streak, all of that's gone. It feels the exact same way we felt waking up that morning after the Missouri loss. And back on our shoulders going into this. So it really, really have a hard time seeing how they're going to figure this one out and leave Fayetteville with a win.
Yeah, that's the same thing I was thinking too, is that you had a 5-game winning streak, but then you lose by 25, and you could lose by 25 again, and then like that 5-game winning streak means, like, what does it even mean? You barely beat some of the lower SEC teams, and like I said, the Tennessee game was very impressive in how you had to do it, and that they're decent. They're a fringe top 25 team. But TJ, this is, we talked about it earlier this week, when you go through this schedule and like 3 wins is like, you'll win. I think they'll win 3 games. I don't know if they're going to get a 4th. It'd be great if they got a 4th or a 5th, but like this could get really off the rails, and the whole momentum that you had last year, even through a 24-12 season, which for Kentucky isn't really that great. Well, you weren't able to get players then. Now you're going to be coming off this season. So I mean, like, there is. Like, you want me to be positive for a second? If they win this game, this could be huge just for the fan base. I mean, what this would mean, because you didn't get it last year, and it really let the fans down. There was the one, like, really black eye of the season last year, I would say, was losing at home to Arkansas. If you can just get this win and mess up Arkansas' season, mess up Cal's season, this could go a long way to winning back the fan base again. It is wild to me, though, like, in a span of a year, like, how quick. There was another radio show that talked about, what percentage of Kentucky fans would want Calipari back. TJ, what percentage would you think that would be?
It depends if people are being honest with themselves or if they're just going to feed into their ego and lie to themselves, but it would be 80%.
Whoa, 80?
Yeah, if people were being truthfully honest and you could just snap your finger and magically have Calipari with this Arkansas roster, which it wouldn't be that exact roster at Kentucky. It would be pretty close, I think. So if you had Calipari last year and you had him this year, you would have, you'd have some of these superstars in a Kentucky jersey. I have absolutely no doubt about it, especially Acuff, Thomas. I think those two guys would be a lock. Billy Richmond would still be at Kentucky. Knox would still be at Kentucky. DJ Wagner probably wouldn't be, would just be my opinion. Jack could potentially have more analysis on that. But if you had this magic potion where you didn't, like, no bad things happened and Cal was happy and Mitch Barnhart was happy and everything was kumbaya, oh yeah, 80% of people would snap their fingers and say, he seems to have a decent thing going at Arkansas. Not like he was at UK, but it seems to be fun. He's got good players. They win games. That's an exciting style of basketball. I would like that. Why would I not like that? I would absolutely like that. I think if Kentucky fans were being honest with themselves, if it was just an easy, clean, magical, snap your fingers, 4 out of 5 would definitely do it.
I mean, that's a really high percentage. I was willing to say somewhere around 50 or so percent. Yeah, the team this year, Arkansas is better. On paper, they're a lot better right now, especially with Kentucky's injuries. And Darius Acuff would be a whole lot of fun to watch every day. But Arkansas is not, they're not going to win the national title, right? I mean, it still would be like a good Calipari season. But the one thing you could say is he would have JQ on this team. Maybe Somto. Would he still be on the team, Jack?
I think Somto would still be there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, if that were the case, maybe you could be talking about a potential Final Four team.
But here's the thing. But Peake, here's the thing you got to remember is, first off, I think Arkansas can definitely make a Final Four this year, and if you can make a Final Four, you can win a championship. But no, they're not title favorites, and they're not in that first tier with the Michigans and the Dukes of the world. But I think they're in that next tier. I think they're in that group of about 10 other programs, or maybe 15 other programs that can get to a Final Four. And, yeah, again, not title favorites, but they're in a hell of a lot better spot than the Kentucky Wildcats are. And I know that that's not exactly what we're debating here, but, yeah, they're in a healthier position than we are.
Yeah, I guess what we're missing is the toxicity of the end of the Cal era. I know you said it would be a magic, but, that's the reason why he's no longer the head coach at Kentucky, to allow for the free I can be Cal of, this is comparable to kind of the same vibes of like Cal 2017 or something 2018 Cal. This team kind of gives a similar vibe to. So yeah, but that's a lot easier said than done, just how massive the pressure was on Cal and the toxicity with the fan base and the back and forth there, that I don't think we would have ever gotten to a point where it can be as healthy of a relationship as Cal has with his players, and between, Cal and the media, Cal and the fans, and, fans thought he was talking down to him every time he had a microphone in front of his face. I think it on paper, yes, but we would have never had a reason to run him out of town as he probably thinks in his mind. So I don't know. It's hard to even envision a clean swap, because the situations would have been totally flipped upside down. I don't know.
Jack, do you still believe like the talking down narrative? Like, do you believe that Cal was frigid and cold with the media and rude to the media? I never bought into that. Some answers he just kind of brushed off, but that's when you're doing press conferences with the same media group for 12 or 13 years. That's going to happen. I never really bought into it. I think people were just frustrated with the losing, so they would look to lash out at anything. And here's an example of that. We're all sick of Mark Pope's mumbo jumbo. You're being too philosophical, Mark Pope. Just go win games. Mark Pope, seemingly just a great dude, seems like a nice guy. Now we're just sick of hearing from him, and it doesn't really matter. Again, we're being nitpicky with what he's saying, but at the end of the day, he's just not winning. So now we're annoyed with all of his fun, nice guy routines. We're just over it. Like, go win games and stop trying to word your way, talk at your way out of everything with fancy words and philosophical phrasings, if you will. And he's much better at it than I am. But I don't know. Cal, similar to Pope, Cal just needed to win. If you don't have those tournament games, then I don't think you have people dissecting every word that he's saying or getting so annoyed with the injury stuff, which was annoying. But guess what? So is this. And guess what? So is what Mark Pope's saying about JQ. That's annoying as well. So it just all comes down to win and losses when you're the head basketball coach at UK.
Yeah, but I think the distraction of – I don't think the talking down to fans, I think it was more of everybody was an enemy to him by the very end, where it wasn't he was talking down, but he was so distracted by his image and what – everybody thought of him, and he doesn't have any of that now. I mean, they view him as a basketball god in Fayetteville right now, however long that lasts, even though I'm still seeing some Arkansas fans going, hey, this is kind of tiresome. That has come more quickly than I thought it would, but it was still a clean break where he's able to start totally fresh. All of the Cal-isms, all of the things that, grew old to us are brand new and fresh to them, where he doesn't have those enemies. He's able to kind of do, all the used car salesman stuff that works so well for him here for so long. All that's brand new down there. So I think he's more focused than he was here at the very end that led to a lot of that toxicity.
I agree with all that. It was in Cal's best interest to move on, and I think he was looking for a way out that was beneficial for him, but also didn't totally sink UK. And I think no buyout, but I'm getting to go to a place with a good nil spot for that exact reason. I can recycle all my Cal-isms. It's going to be a new fan base that's going to eat all this stuff up. They'll see 5 stars being committed, and they'll be happy, and they won't worry about this, that, or the other. And it's true, and he's doing all those things at Arkansas. And last year, I would take UK's season over Arkansas's season. They did get the head-to-head, and Peak, I think you brought this up. That's somewhat what is on the line for Mark Pope in Kentucky tomorrow. This season, and once again, similar to what I'm hoping for on Monday, I would hope for in April, this season's not going to end in a Final Four. It's not going to end in another banner being hung in Rupp Arena. And I so hope somebody write this down on January 30th. And hopefully we can go back and play this. And I'll be so embarrassed I'll have to retire from radio because I was so wrong. I hope so badly to be wrong. But this season's not going to end in a Final Four or a national championship or anything that moves the needle for Kentucky fans. And I almost hate what I'm about to say, because it does show a bit of the lowering of a bar of standards for Kentucky basketball. But we can remember this season more positively than we should if you win tomorrow. And I don't want to say it'll make the season, but it probably would make the season realistically with the way I see this year unfolding. And for what it's worth, if you find a way to win tomorrow, it will provide more optimism. All right, that Vandy game was just a night off. We know this team can have a night off, but we know when they turn it on, they can go beat anybody and win at Tennessee and win at Arkansas. And then you genuinely at that point would think, all right, they're not a perfect team, but line them up, tip the ball, and let's just see what happens. And that can give you a bit of optimism in March. And before you know it, you win one game. And then before you know it, you've won 2 games. And before you know it, you're starting to get excited for a Sweet 16 or something along those lines. This can be the pivot for the season for Kentucky tomorrow. But I don't even think they believe it. I truly don't. I don't know. I think Mark Pope's going to say all the right things, but I think deep down, just based on seeing him after the Michigan State game, when he wanted to curl up in bed and not read a good book, unfortunately, I think he knows this season is just a disaster. I think the players realize that it's just not a very good team. So I don't think that they believe it. However, if you do it, it is something to hang your hat on for the entire season. Okay, yeah, injuries ruined this season, but you remember when they won at Arkansas and they stuck it to Cal? That is something. It's not what Kentucky is expecting in an offseason. It's not enough to get you by a couple of years. But if this year is going to not be what we want it to be, let's provide some singular fun moments. And this would be a hell of a one tomorrow, to beat John Calipari in his home gym as a big underdog when nobody believed in you. That would be great. That would be great. And it really is somewhat flipping the script. Last year, Arkansas seemed to be going the wrong direction. They weren't playing their best basketball. They come into Rupp Arena, and it clicks for them. And it leads to a Sweet 16 run for Arkansas, and they can trace that momentum going back to their win at Rupp Arena. I don't know if the same thing would apply to Kentucky, but let's find out, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's like, if you sprinkle in some of these big wins, there, especially with all the injuries, you can sort of forgive some of how this season has gone. This would be one of them. I would love to be. We're passing the arch right now, TJ. I hope the next time when I see it going 64 East, if I'm coming back with a win, that, like you said, it doesn't make the season, but it'll feel really good. I mean, so yeah, that's the opportunity. That's kind of what's on the line. Is it our Super Bowl? I'm not willing to say that necessarily, but it's another T-shirt game. I like it when Kentucky ruins their T-shirt nights. And yes, this would be a massive win for Mark Pope. It would be a much healthier program, and we have to go talk to him on when would that be, Jack? Tuesday? Yeah, we have to go talk to him on Tuesday. It would be nice if we're talking to a happy Mark Pope and not one that's really starting to feel the pressure again.
This question is for both of you all, and you can just kind of pass around who wants to answer it first. I've got one more question for both of you about Arkansas, but just in the near future, which 8:30 or later game are you all most excited to cover? Is it Oklahoma on Wednesday night? Is it Tennessee on Saturday at 8:30? Is it the Georgia home game on February 17th at 9 o'clock? Or is it the 8:30 game at Auburn on Saturday? Which late night are you most looking forward to?
Well, Stephen, will you even be allowed to go to Auburn?
Well, we're going to find out. They let me for football, but we'll see if that carries over for basketball. We'll see. I'm trying to get banned from every arena, so this is my first time visiting Arkansas. So if I can get out of there with a quick ban and never have to go back, then we'll call it a win. I'm looking forward to the Tennessee game. I mean, if you could sweep Tennessee again in the regular season, well, that'll feel pretty good too. So I'm looking forward to that one, Jack. What about you?
Oh, and it's denim night too. Don't forget. It's going to be a late night denim extravagant. Like, I can't believe you got to do it because it's the 30th anniversary. But man, it feels like that should have been something that they just said, hey, missed opportunity. Should have either opened the season with it or not done it at all. Because man, I just don't know how fans are going to get excited on February 7th at 8:30 against Tennessee, knowing what we know about this team, representing one of the greatest teams in the history of college basketball, honoring them with the on-court product that we are currently seeing with this group.
Somebody's going to have to step up and be Den Him that evening, if you know what I mean.
Not your best effort, TJ.
All right. Well, shoot or shoot, Jack Pilgrim. Shoot or shoot. We got Jack Pilgrim and Stephen Peak. They're on their way to Arkansas for the Hogs home game against Kentucky tomorrow, 6:30. ESPN should be something, that's for sure. We've talked a lot about the game. We don't feel great about it, but Jack, in your opinion, if the Cats pulled off the upset, how would it look? What does UK need to do? What advantages could they have in the game tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's a Denzel Aberdeen head-to-head battle against Darius Acuff. If you can take away the head of the snake, if you're able to neutralize him for, as good and talented as he is one of those score first. I can, when I can get, Michael Brown I can start letting the efficiency get away from me as I want to put the team on my back and become the superstar scorer. This is a personal game for him because there was a very real scenario for him to end up in Lexington. And, I think that was his dream school. That was the place he always wanted to be. There's a reason why Cal emerged as like, hey, wherever Cal was going to be, that's where Darius Acuff was going to be. So this is definitely going to be a personal, individual matchup. So when things get personal, you can see things either swing in one direction where he goes for 38 points on, 14 of 18 shooting, or there are scenarios where you could go 12 points on 4 of 22 shooting, and that is the scenario where Denzel can really kind of assert himself as the, hey, I don't have any emotions tied into this. Like, I just showed up and ready to work and earn my paycheck and put points on the board. So that could be the head-to-head battle. That if Denzel can win that one, some of the other pieces can fall into place and allow Kentucky to just play its game and muck things up and try to make life difficult for. We know that Cal can get tight at times that down the stretch. So even with a lead, that could be a comeback scenario for Kentucky. So I don't expect any of those things to happen, but if this turns into a kind of a personal, emotional game on Arkansas side, I could see some type of miracle scenario where Kentucky pulls it off.
Steven, in your opinion, what do the Cats need to do?
They need to make at least 10 threes. So the magic number has been 8 for most of the season. That's been the number I've been wanting them to hit. They were, I think they're 4 and 5 in games where they don't make, against high-level opponents, in games where they don't make 8 threes, and they're 4 and 6 actually, and they're 4 and 1 in games where they do. So I'm looking for Kentucky they're going to have to maybe make more than 8. Three-point shooting has not been a strong suit this year, but if it can just be one of those random games where you get hot, that's the recipe to try to take down the Hogs tomorrow night.
I hope that you guys have a happy ride home and we eat a lot of crow on Monday. But the segment not the most optimistic, but we tried to finish it with some good analysis. All of it's great analysis from Jack Pilgrim and Stephen Peak. They're heading to Arkansas, so we're going to let them get back on the road. Drive safely, you all, and bring us back a Big Blue victory.
Will do, TJ. Thanks for letting me join you for a little bit.
No, thank you for doing it. I know that you all had to travel, so just taking the time. Very cool. We appreciate it. All right, we'll see you. We'll take our first commercial break. This will be a great day for the Gameday Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. You text it in. I will do my best to get it on air. We'll see how producer Matt Childress is doing as well when we return here on Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio.
If I only knew the words, I'd sing along with the birds. If I only knew the words.
Get your Saturday morning wake-up call on Big X Sports Radio. Wake up 502 with Rashawn Myers every Saturday morning from 9 until 11 a.m. Only on WXBW 96.1 and 1450 a.m. The Big X, joined by the architect himself, Haven Harrington. They bring you all the sports commentary and opinions on both local and national sports you need to get your weekend started. Wake up 502. It's more than just talk.
Honey Baked Ham in New Albany is the perfect spot for a healthy alternative to fast food. They provide a variety of freshly made sandwiches, as well as salads and delicious soups. And you can dine in or take it to go. They also have many dinner options such as ham, turkey, frozen sides, and desserts, which provide a complete meal. Catering is also available for small groups or large gatherings. Call Honey Baked Ham today, 812-941-9426, or visit them, 3602 Northgate Court, Suite 23 in New Albany.
Thinking about freshening up your paint or epoxy coating your garage or basement? Then Gary Coleman is the man to call. Get $250 off any garage or large epoxy project booked now through January 31st during their new floor sale. Call Gary to give your floor a fresh coat, fill in the cracks, and protect your floors for life. Call Gary at 502-641-9849 to schedule your free quote. If your job's big or small, Gary is the one to call. 502-641-9849. That's 502-641-9849.
If you've been hurt in a car accident or hurt on the job, there's only one law firm to call. Call my friend Tony at the Collier Law Firm at 502-736-8141. Tony will get you paid. This guy used to work for the insurance company, so he knows the other team's playbook. Tony's a die-hard Cardinal fan. His family's from Portland and Shively, and he grew up in Fern Creek. With that combination, you know this man can fight and win. In an accident or hurt on the job, call Collier Law Firm. That's C-O-L-Y-E-R Law Firm. Call today.
Defining a new era in men's health, Gameday Men's Health delivers real results with no shortcuts. From testosterone replacement, weight loss to peptides, vitamins, and sexual performance therapy, Gameday Men's Health will have you covered. Their in-house lab gives you answers in just 15 minutes, and our clinic is designed for men who value privacy, speed, and results. Visit GamedayMensHealth.com. Real men, real science, most importantly, real change. Visit GamedayMensHealth.com.
Indiana football on Big X Sports Radio.
The rags to riches story for Indiana football comes to conclusion, and they are the national champions of 2026. What a football team.
Big X Sports Radio was your home for Indiana football all season long, thanks to these sponsors: Mitch Craig Heating and Cooling, Ivy Tech Sellersburg, and Honey Baked Ham. Go Hoosiers!
Having trouble finding that UK or U of L basketball game on TV? Waldo's Chicken and Beer in Norton Commons has every UK and U of L game this season, even the streaming-only games. $5 appetizers, $6 pitchers of draft beer, and wing specials during all the games. Plus, in-house fun, games, and prizes every night. Come enjoy Norton Commons' favorite
is what it is, and it's in St. Louis. I didn't know if you went by St. Louis to go to Fayetteville, but I guess you do. I don't think they'd be going out of their way for no good reason. Figured you just head straight south to Nashville and then make your way over. But admittedly, I've never driven to Fayetteville, so never been there. So I don't know. I'm not one to talk, but that was a bit of a surprise to me. But they're feeling similar to how I'm feeling. TJ Walker here on Kentucky Roll Call. Producer Matt Childress in studio. Yeah, I'm not feeling great about the game, and they weren't feeling great about the game, Producer Matt. But before we talk more hogs and cats, how you doing? What's up? How's your Friday going?
I'm good. It's been a busy Friday. Justin texted me at around like 6 o'clock this morning, told me that he was sick as a dog was the phrase he used, and asked if I would cover for him. So I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. I got to go in there for just the cats anyway. Might as well fill in for him, help him out a little bit. So we've been here for a little bit now. I'm kind of hitting that crash. I started the day with an energy drink and get to the point where it's kind of wearing off. But it's been a good day so far, and I'm excited to get to the weekend.
Well, it's almost there, Producer Matt. So, little Scoot's not feeling well. Sick as a dog,
Not feeling well. That's the phrase he used.
Okay, so I was getting ready for work and getting the girls ready for school the last 2 days, and I did notice that there was no sunrise. No sunrise with Scoots.
Yeah, yesterday I think he tweeted out last night and said, because he said that he wasn't feeling like too great yesterday, but he was still in here. He was all right or whatever. And the last night he tweeted out, he's like, I'm feeling so much better. Don't worry, guys, I'm back tomorrow. And then immediately tweeted today and said, yeah, guys, I kind of lied. I feel like crap. No show today, guys. I had to fib.
Okay, so now it's just not adding up. Obviously, there's more to the story here, and I'm glad that there is from a radio standpoint. So he doesn't do Thursday morning show because why?
I guess he started out feeling bad. I get because he did say that he wasn't feeling amazing.
Goodness gracious, he does this all the time. Scoots, if you're sick and you can't do your 7 a.m. show, nobody wants you around for the 8 a.m. show or the 9 a.m. show or the 10 a.m. show or the 11 a.m. show. If you're too sick, what you're telling us is you just want to sleep in, that your sickness is needing more sleep. That's what your sickness is, Scoots. And then for him to tweet out and say, feeling much better, I'll be in for Sunrise with Scoots tomorrow morning. Let's get prepped for the weekend. And then to follow that up, let's count the hours. That was exactly at 10 o'clock. So 8 hours later to tweet and said, it spoke entirely too soon. Want to make God laugh. Tell him your plans. I will not be in this morning. So he obviously got to drinking last night. Let's just call a spade a spade. Scoots tied one on. He was feeling good on a Thursday night. Probably was watching the IU replay national championship game. Come on. Got into the fireball because he was feeling good. And then woke up this morning and he was like, oh, yeah, I probably shouldn't have drank last night. I'm not 100%. Now I'm definitely not 100%. I'm just going to sleep in, make it a long weekend.
I'm looking at his tweets that spoke entirely too soon. He said, one person replied to him, said, by gosh, I hope you get better, my friend. And then another person who his name is Gil Boldberg, said, damn, I was looking forward to an hour-long preview of the Royal Rumble tomorrow.
So his roommate's just tweeting him from the couch.
Yeah, he just walked past him in the morning. He's like, he's supposed to be at work. Let me hop on his Twitter, see what's up.
You can't fool us, Gil Boldberg. We know exactly who you are, buddy. You're his roommate. Not only did he tweet out that he's feeling much better and he's going to be there for Sunrise with Scoots, he even quote tweeted that tweet and said that what station it is, just to let people know, like, it's on 96.1. So not only was he so excited to come in, he tweeted about it twice, and then he watched Free Bert on Netflix. Why? This is going to help us. What's Free Bert on Netflix?
Let me figure that out.
Yeah, you pull that. So he was drinking.
Is it B-E-R-T?
He was watching. Yeah, Free Bert. B-E-R-T. Like Bert and Ernie.
Apparently, it's a show about Bert Kreischer.
Okay, actually, I guess Bert and Ernie. Is that B-U-R-T for Bert? That Bert and Ernie, or is it B-E-R-T?
Maybe.
I'm not 100%. It doesn't matter. Whatever. Okay, it's about Bert Kreischer.
Bert Kreischer, the comedian.
What about him?
I'm getting ads popped up. Bert Kreischer tries to fit into Beverly Hills society when his daughters attend an elite private school. So is this like a sitcom?
Tell me.
I don't know. That's all that it says. There's no reviews. There's only 2 episodes. That is the whole description of the entirety of the show. It looks like it's like a sitcom.
So he watched that. He tied one on. His alarm went off, and he was just like, come on, back to bed. And he went on back.
He also, the day before, tweeted at me, apparently. I didn't see it. Which, have you gotten this issue where on Twitter, every single person you try and at does not come up unless you put their whole name in? Like, every single person?
It's very annoying. Yes.
I've been getting it for a while now.
You have always been incredibly hard. My other producer for the post-game show, Zach Cantrell, his Twitter handles like ZC Money or Z Money C or something like that, something ridiculous. His is hard to pop up as well. You may just want to go to like Matt Childress Radio instead of the Matt Childress _. You don't even have your, I don't know. Hey, or go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, the reason I got to that is because apparently the day before he actually tweeted at me and he's blaming me for it. He said, because a couple of days ago, I think it was the day I came on here and I told you that I wasn't on Just the Cats because I was up to like 3 a.m. fixing my dog's, throw up issue. And so I wasn't on that. He said, must have gotten producer at mchilders_crud not feeling great today, so no sunrise with Scoots. Sorry to disappoint. So
wow.
Apparently I'm to blame for this.
That's basically what he's saying.
That is what he's saying. I feel kind of upset about this. I'm kind of angry.
Well, if I were you, I wouldn't stand for it. It's not my fault that you've got a bad immune system, Scoots. How did the 3-man front go last night?
I thought it went great. I thought it was a really fun show. The first week was, we kind of had to jump through like the schedule and the roster, and it was more of a show like explaining what the show is, what the team is. So it was really like analytical and statistic heavy. So I'll be honest, the first one for me, I was like, I don't really know how I feel about that. I feel like it went well. Yesterday was like a lot of banter, a lot of conversation, a lot of previewing things, and I thought that we all three had a really good flow. I thought we communicated well. I thought the chemistry was there, and we've gotten some decent feedback so far. So it was a lot of fun.
I'll catch the podcast. Wasn't able to listen live, but excited about it. Make sure you're checking out Producer Match Thursday night show centered around the Louisville Kings as they get started for their inaugural season in Louisville. The Louisville Kings of the UFL on March 27th when Birmingham Stallions come to town. Yeehaw! And they're having a fan day tomorrow?
Yes.
Did you all talk about that?
Yeah, we talked about it. So tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., it's a fan rally. You'll get to meet the coaches. You'll get to meet the players, which I think they announced the players already. I'm pretty sure it's Benny Snell, Lynn Bowden, and Willie Tyler are the 3 players, or at least 3 of the players you're going to get to meet. They're going to give stuff away. There's going to be free food, free drinks, free. They just said giving away items. They didn't say specifically what. But it's a couple hours. It'll be fun. It's free.
All rise. Join us for an action-packed celebration as we gear up for the inaugural 2026 season. Meet members of the Louisville Kings team, including head coach Chris Redmond. Snap photos, play interactive games and activities for all ages. Enjoy complimentary food and beverages, and snag free King swag. This is your chance to be a part of something special from day one. Bring your family, bring your friends, and help us launch a new reign of spring football. You do have to RSVP.
Yeah, so you do RSVP, and it's to contact you for ticket prices and stuff like that. So yeah, but if anybody didn't get to listen to the show yesterday and they planned on going before, they did change venue, so it's not at Lynn Family Stadium. It's at the First Turn Club at Churchill Downs instead because of there's possibly snow coming in and it's going to be super cold this weekend. So it's going to be all indoors now.
I'm a little worried about attendance for this, just if we're going to be totally honest with everybody. I'm a little worried about how many people are going to show up. That being said, if you're a huge UK football fan, a chance to get a Lynn Bowden or Benny Snell autograph, what are the chances one of those 2 guys ends up not being there? I hope that both of them are. No reason to think that they won't be. But if you're a UK football fan, you can just go say, hey, Lynn, I loved it when you punched that Virginia Tech player in the face. That was cool. You can say, hey, Benny, I liked it when you scored that touchdown against Penn State, but then the team nearly gave up the lead, but still held on, and that was exciting. You can go talk to them about whatever you want. Honestly, if I'm super bored, I may take the 4-year-old down there at 10 o'clock. I don't think – you do have to register. What happens if you register and you don't go? Are they gonna bring the Kings?
I think,
is it gonna be a cavalry come to your house?
So I think the RSVPing is genuinely just for like survey interest, because if you RSVP, it asks you how many guests you would bring, and then they send you an email after saying with links to buy season tickets, links to buy. I think it's genuinely just like a survey. I think anybody's welcome to come.
Okay. Well, Bellarmine plays at home at 2 at Knights Hall. You could go hit up the Kings fan rally, then go to the Bellarmine game, and then take in the Cats versus the Hogs.
I can't imagine there's like a bouncer with a piece of paper said, nope, I don't know if Jerry Smith's on the list. He didn't RSVP this weekend. So I think even if you don't, you're more than welcome to come.
Former U of L great Jerry Smith?
Actually, that's just the name I made up. But yeah, former U of L great Jerry Smith is going to be there playing security.
Of course, he wasn't the biggest guy. I don't know if he'd be the best security. No offense to Jerry Smith, but it was a great name to make up. You should have went with Andre McGee, in my opinion.
Too soon.
502-414-1450, the Gameday Men's Health text line. Let's read some text here. Follow back roll call fam on Twitter, Matt, says one texter. Oh no, is he asking you for a follow back?
Is there a roll call fam on Twitter that follows me? Let me find out. Like I said, Twitter's, I don't know if I'm shadow banned on there or something. If people tag me and stuff, if I get followed by people, I only get like half. The only notifications I get right now are people that I have their notifications turned on, for like news and stuff. I don't get anything anymore.
So, I was shadow banned. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
During the pandemic, they got me. And I don't know if you are or if you're not. I don't think that you are, although what happens with you and Zach Cantrell when people search your names is very annoying. But you can find your name. If you just type in your Twitter handle, it will pop up. But the thing is, Scoots and myself, we don't have your Twitter handle memorized, so we instantly just type in Matt Childress, your name. Twitter needs to be smarter and be like, okay, they're trying to type in the person's name of an account that they follow. Let's auto-populate this. Instead, it just goes like strictly to handle business. So, it's looking up a @handle Matt C, which just doesn't exist, or at least not what we're looking for. If you type it in exactly, yours will pop up. When back in like 2022 with me, mine, you could type in my exact Twitter handle name and it wouldn't pop up. Now, you could just type it and then hit space and then go and finish your tweet, and then it would show up like regular, but it'd make it seem like you were putting in a Twitter handle that didn't exist.
Yeah.
So at least for you, it will pop up if you type in your specific user handle.
Because it's even doing that, like, whenever I tweet out the show or when I tweet out, like, the live streams, like, for not even just for your alls, for anybody at the Big X, I have to, on this computer, I have to type in the entire Twitter handle. I've, memorized them all now. I have to do it every time.
It's unfortunate, and it's annoying, and it seems like it'd be such an easy fix. But Twitter, they cut all the staff. They don't. So it's just kind of like, here's the app. Either you like it and you deal with it, and if you've got any complaints, well, there's nobody here to hear them. So not a bad business strategy, but on another hand, it's a terrible.
I'm also not seeing this roll call fam on Twitter. I can't find it.
I don't think that's the name. I think that guy is just saying,
"Oh, I follow you guys." Is that what they're saying?
No, I think he wants to follow back from you. Like, hey, we're roll call fam. Follow me back.
But,
I don't know.
But they also didn't put their ad in there, so I wouldn't even be able to.
Well, did you get a recent follow? Did you get are you swimming in the followers?
No, I'm not. I'm actually treading water easily. I think I'm waiting, if anything.
Do you have more than Scoots, I guess?
How many does he have? Let's see.
Scoots is. You got more than Scoots.
I have more than Scoots.
That's tough. That's really tough for Scoots. I hate that for him, honestly. I love you, Matt, but I think he's been doing the Twitter thing a lot longer. You've been 2011. He's been 09, but he's had it in a professional capacity for years. Well over a decade. He's been doing sports media where Twitter has been a big platform. Yeah, that's tough for Scoots.
I will say that a big reason why I have more than that is because when I was in high school, I was in charge of our whole spirit, student section and stuff like that. So everybody followed me for that stuff. So I got a lot of followers from that. And then I also ran 2017, she won Miss Kentucky basketball, Lindsay Duval. Do you know who that is?
I do not.
Okay, so she played for Bull East, the high school that I went to. She won Mrs. Kentucky basketball. She ended up going to NKU, and I was in journalism, and I was a beat writer for the women's basketball team. So I did a lot of interviews on her for her awards, and then she was a McDonald's All-American at one point. And my friend and I created a fan account for her where we basically Photoshop images for every pregame of her beating up the other team and stuff like that, and that thing got thousands of followers on it when I was in high school, and we kept it hidden until graduation, and then when we were graduated, we all announced who was on it, and I got a lot of followers from that too.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. So you were part of her hype campaign.
Yes, it was a little bit of a Bullet East cult that I was a part of for a little bit that I ran. I had teachers come up to me and was like, "Hey, don't you run that Twitter account?" I'm like, "You're a teacher."
You're famous. That's good stuff. All right. Well, we've got more texts about Scoots. We'll get to those. Gameday Men's Health text line 502-414-1450. We'll preview the college basketball slate, some betting angles that I like. This is Kentucky Roll Call, Big X Sports Radio, hour number 2 coming up next.
I feel like everybody likes to run their mouth but can't decide on what it is they're trying to say. There's nothing wrong with hearing voices.
This is Kentuckiana's only locally owned sports talk. The Big X, AM 1450 and 96.1 FM, WXVW Jeffersonville.
Hey there, New Albany. This is Mayor Jeff Gahan. It's another year here in our River City, and what better time to show your support for our high school's athletic programs. Whether it's basketball or football, track and field or soccer,
TJ Walker, no Stephen Peak. He's in a car with Jack Pilgrim. I think it's just those two. Maybe there's a third hidden in the trunk or something like that. They're on their way to Fayetteville for the Arkansas game, 6:30 tomorrow. Go back and listen to the Kentucky Roll Call podcast as Jack Pilgrim, Stephen Peak, and myself, TJ Walker, break down our thoughts on that game. Admittedly, just a bit of a warning. We're a little negative. We're not overly positive on Kentucky's chances tomorrow, but that's why they play the game. And Otega Oweh is capable for having a big game. Denzel Aberdeen is the national champion. This is one name I don't think any of us brought up. I think Mo Diabate's got to have a big Mo Diabate game. That doesn't necessarily mean a double-double, although that'd be nice. I actually think if Kentucky's going to pull the upset, he probably will need a double-double. But his physicality will be a big deal. They got totally punked against Vandy, and Vandy's not especially great on the glass, but they made it a point of emphasis that they were going to against Kentucky. And Kentucky had no answer for a team that really wasn't that great of a rebounding team. Mo Diabate's got to be more physical. If Kentucky's got any chance, he's going to have to play well. If you have any thoughts on the game tomorrow or anything at all, for what it's worth, this is Kentucky Roll Call after all. Text into the Gameday Men's Health text line 502-414-1450. In studio, we have producer Matt, and you're 9 days away from the Super Bowl. This is the weekend that kind of stinks. Green Bay's only been in one in my adult lifetime, and that was when I was in college. I was living large. It was a lot of fun, but I just remember that week between the Super Bowl and the conference championships, you just wished it away, which kind of stunk. You never really want to wish a weekend away, but I just remember being like, all right, get me to Monday. I want it to be Super Bowl week. How you feeling, buddy?
I'm kind of right there. I think it's also a little bit more annoying because every time I do get updates on anything Super Bowl wise, like I know they released the jerseys yesterday, what they're wearing. It's like the most basic jersey combo we've ever seen once again, which is just extremely boring to me. But almost every other update is just people talking about Drake May's shoulder, and I'm like, the dude is gonna play. I'm sorry. If I don't care if his arm is falling off at the tendons, you're not going to keep that man from playing the game. Especially like he was in practice yesterday. He was in practice today. I know he didn't like talk with the media today, but like it's one of those where like there's just nothing else in the NFL to talk about. So I'm just getting pushed down my throat. Just Drake May shoulder information. It's actually getting under my skin here, TJ.
It's getting into your throat and under your skin.
Yes. It's not fun. I can't handle it. It's too much.
You've been watching a little too much Game of Thrones, haven't you?
Not right now. I'm not. I'll tell you that.
I have to actually properly say the name of the show. It's a tale of a night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yes. At least I believe so.
House of the Dragon. You could say Hot D. Game of Thrones. You could just say GOT or GOT or Game of Thrones. Night of the Seven Kingdoms. KSK. No.
You could say K7K. I mean, usually in acronyms they don't add the like ofs and thes and ands.
Yeah, we could just say K7.
Yeah, K7.
Yeah.
Hey, you on that K7, bro?
What's up?
You on that K7, bro?
Is that like a drug?
That's what it sounds like.
Ketamine? Is that a reference to ketamine?
That sounds like one of those things where, like, if you were out in public and you're like, we were up on the K7 last night. We were chilling with the homies, and somebody comes out, I was like, hey, what you guys talking about? Oh, Game of Thrones. You're like, oh, so these dudes are just dweebs, they're just nerds. Like, well, I thought they were doing something cool over here.
Yeah, we'll have to work on the abbreviation for it. But 502-414-1450, the Gameday Men's Health text line. St. X Trinity tonight. St. X Trinity basketball game doesn't carry the same attendance as you would imagine as the football game does, but it does have a more competitive series, which is appreciated as a St. X alum. They're playing this game at St. X, which is shocking to me, speaking of attendance. When I was I feel like you could get Bellarmine not full, but you could get a pretty good crowd at Bellarmine for the St. X Trinity game. I'm a bit shocked that they're not doing that. St. X, one of the best teams in the country. Trinity's still very good and very competitive, but not one of your top three teams in the 7th region. But it's a rivalry game. You never know what can happen. And you can listen to that game here on Big X Sports Radio with John Spears, Tony Burke on the call, producer Matt on the board. Or
Roman will be on the board. I'll be on Bellarmine tomorrow.
Okay, Bellarmine tomorrow. But exciting stuff for that St. X game. And you can watch those games on YouTube, too, and they plug in the Spears audio, which is fun. I don't know. Well, listen, turn your radio on all the same. But if you want to watch, this is that St. X basketball team. They are real for a high school team. They're really fun to watch. All right, let's read a couple texts into the show. Texter says, TJ, Indiana Tim here. I think guys not named Owe and Aberdeen have to step up. Someone else has to be able to hit a three or hit a layup. Indiana Tim, Stephen Peake put the number at 10, said Kentucky has to hit 10 threes. I don't really disagree. And I think if Kentucky's going to win this game, it's going to be something similar to Arkansas's game against LSU, which I know everybody is sitting there and they're like, oh, of course I remember Arkansas's game against LSU earlier this year. How could I forget, TJ? That's an astute comparison. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Well, it was just about a week ago. But Arkansas won 85-81 at home in Fayetteville and was losing at halftime, but had a big second half comeback. And, well, not really a big second half comeback, but kind of played. LSU led for the majority of the second half. Arkansas got the lead, and then LSU got the lead again, and they kind of went back and forth before Arkansas was able to hang on for an 85-81 win. Arkansas in that game hit 10 threes, which that's a pretty solid number. I think if they hit 10 threes, if you're Kentucky, you want that number to be closer to 6 or 7 if you want a chance. So 10 is a little high, so you'd want that to come down a little bit. But the reason that game stands out a bit is Acuff was incredible. Had one of his best games. Darius Acuff, the freshman from Michigan, had one of his best games, scoring 31 points, 13 of 19 from the field, 4 of 7 from deep. So, he hit 4 of the 10 3-pointers for Arkansas. He had a day. So, again, you're probably wondering, TJ, why are you picking out that game? Because LSU did a good job not shutting down everybody else, because the other freshman, Malik Thomas, he had 14 points in that game, and Billy Richmond had 11 points in that game. So it wasn't like you just had Acuff had 31 and nobody else scored double digits. Well, only 2 scored double digits, and that was 11 and 14 points. But Brazil had 7 points. Knox had 5 points. Ewan had 6 points. DJ Wagner only had 7 coming off the bench. I'll get to some bets later, but remind me about DJ Wagner. I think that's the recipe for Kentucky. And no, you probably don't want Acuff to get 31 points, but I do think the idea is going, and I don't know if it was Jack or Steven, which one touched on this, but I think you probably put Aberdeen on Acuff and you say, hey, you're not going to shut him down. This is a top 5 pick or top 10 pick on NBA draft boards, but give him hell. Give him your all. Make it tough on him, and he's going to get his, because he will. He'll do it against the best defenders in college basketball. Denzel Aberdeen's not a bad defender, but he's not the best defender in college basketball. Acuff is just incredibly hard to guard. I don't think you double him or you leave anybody else wide open and you bring help over to him. You just put a long, active defender on him and just say, hey, do your best, and if he scores on you, get back. Try to get the ball out quick, get in transition, try to score on them, and then live another possession. Make it tough on them. And you do your best to slow everybody else down. I don't know if this Kentucky team's capable of shutting 4 other players down and letting one player go and get his, but that's the recipe for me. You just try to make life very, very difficult on everybody else and make Acuff have to beat you by himself, which he can do. But I just don't see a scenario where DJ Wagner has a good game and Billy Richmond has a good game and Carter Knox hits a couple threes and Acuff is Acuff, so he scores 20 plus. And then Malik Thomas is good and he throws in. You can see how this can get really out of control. And that's why ultimately I don't feel great about the game tomorrow. But I think if Kentucky's going to win, and for what it's worth in that game, LSU only hit 3 threes. So that's somewhat comparable. Kentucky's going to need to hit more than 3. But it kind of goes to show this Arkansas team, you can get them. LSU dominated them on the glass in that game. LSU had one more turnover than they did, but both were in single digits, so LSU wasn't coughing the ball up. Kentucky needs to take care of the ball. That was a disaster at Vanderbilt. They need to rebound. That was a disaster at Vanderbilt. They need to make some threes, which they've been better at as of late. And that's how you stay in this game. And you just do. You want it to be a game at the under 4 where Arkansas feels a bit of pressure, where Cal feels a bit of pressure. Oh, I can't stand. I can't stand to lose this game. Okay, what do the people start? The players start pointing fingers at one another, or they start wanting to be the guy, or they expect Acuff just to take over, but maybe he's having an off night. I don't think these things happen. But there, a little more optimism and positivity to go with the negativity that started the show. There's how you can see it happening. I hope that it does. A texter on the Gameday Men's Health text line said, I wish we had Cam. I think his length would have really bothered Acuff. Probably not would have been the guy who would be guarding him, but you just miss Cam for a million reasons, and his length just getting in passing lanes. Or if he gets helped or switched on to somebody, he can defend multiple positions. Cam Williams, and he was starting to play well. And then, obviously, from a three-point shooting standpoint, you feel much better offensively when that dude's on the floor. But we're starting to learn that we feel better with him on the floor defensively, too. So you just miss him all around, and it does stink. Another texter on the Gameday Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. Arkansas is not great defensively, 55th on KenPom. We're 31st defensively for comparison. This is kind of the crappy thing about, well, this and a million other reasons. The crappy thing about all of Kentucky's injuries is, like, what is this team without Cam Williams and without JQ? And they're probably better without Jalen Lowe defensively. But what is this group, even without Cam and JQ? Are they 31st defensively? I know, I don't know if you can break down the lineups that well. But your point is Arkansas is not that great. That's fine. Kentucky's half-court offense isn't that great. Arkansas would love to play fast. You get deja vu having these conversations now from the other side. Calipari probably would love to play fast. Is that in Kentucky's best interest? On the flip side, do we really want Kentucky setting up its offense in the half court without Cam Williams, who we've mentioned a lot in this segment? So if you play fast, Kentucky should be able to score on Arkansas. If you play fast, then Arkansas gets to play fast on you, and they're probably better at it than you are. So I don't know. I remember that 2012 Indiana-Kentucky Sweet 16 game. And early on, you could tell that Tom Crean has made the decision to run with Kentucky, which you didn't see a lot of in that 2011-2012 season. You didn't see a lot of teams run with Kentucky because you were just going to get beaten. They were going to be better at it than you were, so you better figure something else out. And on that night in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome, Tom Crean said, let's turn this into a track meet. And Cal, grinning, said, all right, let's do it then. And IU scored 90. Kentucky, which was an incredible defensive team, wasn't so incredible that night. But UK was better at what IU was trying to do, so it didn't work out for the Hoosiers. If Kentucky tries to run with Arkansas in Fayetteville, they're better at that than Kentucky is. So I don't think that that's a good decision. It's tough. And it's tough because they have better players than you do. So that's really where the issues fall. And that should not happen at Kentucky. Kentucky should play maybe 2 to 3 teams a season, if that, just speaking truthfully, that have more talent than they do. And that's probably a reach saying 2 to 3. It maybe should be 1 to 2. Goodness great. I mean, how many games has it been this season? Even going back to last season, how many games has it been? Should we do the exercise? Let's do the exercise. Did Louisville have more talent than Kentucky this year? And then again, you have to play the game of like, well, are you talking about injuries or when they're healthy? Or let's just talk about when the teams tipped off against one another. Did Louisville have more talent than Kentucky? Probably a wash. But if you wanted to make a case for U of L, I think it would be a valid case. If you wanted to make a case for UK, I think I could hear you out on that as well. But you had no JQ in that game, but you did have Jalen Lowe, and you had Cam Williams, and obviously Kentucky didn't really know what they were that early in the season. But would you say definitively that Louisville had more talent, or are you okay with a wash just from this exercise perspective?
Who was it that started for Kentucky in that game? Because I was trying to think like position to position, like in comparison.
It was Jalen Lowe came off the bench, but he played 30 minutes. But it was Aberdeen, Owe, Chandler, Brandon Garrison, and Mo Diabate. A very different looking starting lineup than today.
Yeah. I think at the time, Kentucky's front court was much better. Obviously, I think Louisville's front court kind of excelled in that game, but at the time, I think that they're more talented. I think Denzel, I think Michael Brown is definitely better than Denzel Aberdeen and Jalen Lowe, so I'll take him there. I think where you get to like the 2 and the 3 spot, that's different because I feel like Colin Chandler and Isaac McNeely have had very similar seasons where it's like they have really good games and then they have some games they don't show up. I'll take a wash.
Yeah, and again, if you wanted to say Louisville, it could be. It could be. But we'll say wash on that one just for the exercise sake. I'm going to say Michigan State has more talent than Kentucky. They're more physical and better up front. They've had better guard play throughout the year. If Tom Izzo, he's such a great coach. Kentucky, you would think, if healthy, totally healthy, would have more talent than Michigan State. It's just not true, though. It's just not the case. So there's one. North Carolina, that's similar to Louisville, where you could hear both sides of it. But just for argument's sake, let's just say that's a wash too. North Carolina had the best player play in that game. There's no debating that. And Louisville had the best player playing in that game. No debating that. Maybe that would have been a better way to go about this, is that really you should only have a few games where you don't have the best player on the floor. It's Kentucky basketball after all. But even if we're just talking about talent amongst teams, Gonzaga, more talented team, so that's 2. St. John's, I think, is a more talented team. Weirdly enough, Kentucky wins that game. But I think people would probably look at those 2 rosters and say that St. John's has more talent. That's 3. Alabama has more talent. That's 4. Tennessee, again, another game Kentucky won. I'd probably say that they have more talent. That one's pretty close too, though. But I'll give it to Tennessee. There's 5. Vandy definitely has more talent. Who would have thought that? But it's true. That's 6. And then Arkansas tomorrow will be 7. It should happen 2 to 3 times a year. That's not good. That's not all right. And then sometimes when I'm trying to fall asleep, producer Matt, your brain goes to a million different places. Last night, mine just came back to, hey, TJ, when you get on radio again, be sure to scream and yell. I'm not going to do it. Don't worry. About how Mark Pope has 0 recruits for next season. And like in my little falling asleep brain, it's like, hey, that's just totally weird. That's not normal. That's not good. You used to cover 6 5-stars, 5 5-stars in a class. And it's a different era, and it's a different game, and it's a different coach. But there are 0. There are 0 commitments for 2026. Mark Pope has been unable, with one of the biggest bags in college basketball, to land anybody. And, even if he had a 4-star signed up, cool, but no. He went after the top bigs, after the top guards, after the top wings, and whiff. Tyron Stokes was locked up to Kentucky. You had everybody who hardly ever gets this wrong saying he's going to be a cat. And maybe he still ends up being. He hasn't committed anywhere. But now all those same people are saying that about Kansas and him. When we're talking about you should only be out-talented maybe 2 to 3 times a year, Maybe if you're playing the same team in the SEC twice, that number is like 4 or something like that. We're at 7 and we're not even through January, and we're maybe being a little generous in some areas. Why is that not going to happen next year? You don't have NBA stars coming in, not yet. Maybe he can pull a rabbit out of his hat, but he's not getting players because these dudes do not want to play for Mark Pope. So as long as Mark Pope is the head coach, we may not be getting those dudes. And it does just suck. Like as a Kentucky fan, if we want to just go to a safe space and, we don't want to let our guard down or anything like that, this all just sucks. And, injuries play a role in it, and some bad tournament luck plays a role in it. But things were so good for such a long time. And even when they weren't good, they weren't like this. They weren't good when you were losing in the Sweet 16 with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's a different type of not good versus losing by 25 to Vandy in the same season you lost by 35 to Gonzaga, in the same season you lost by 20 to Michigan State. That's a different type of bad. And yeah, losing to that Kansas State team in 2018 was bad. Losing to Kansas State in 2023 was bad. And Calipari was the coach for those guys. But you had the National Player of the Year in 2023. And again, that was a disappointing year. You were 2 seed the year before that. Again, horrible finish. Still more fun than this, though. And I'm not saying you have to snap your fingers like going back talking with Jack and Steven and saying you got to snap your fingers and get Calipari back in here. But you do need somebody that the top players want to play for. And that is not Mark Pope. And he had no resume of getting top players when he was at BYU, which we all naturally said, yeah, but he's at BYU. These kids probably want to have a soft drink and maybe a little intercourse during their college experience. They're not going to go to BYU. Mark Pope leaves and BYU signs one of the best recruits in like 5 years. Mark Pope leaves and BYU signs one of the best recruits since the pandemic. And Mark Pope has signed a couple of nice Kentucky kids that are going to be in college basketball for multiple years. That's what Mark Pope has done. So it's not good. It's not good that he doesn't have any recruits. The season's not going great. He's not saying anything to make you feel confident. And quite frankly, he's not saying anything that makes you think he has any clue of what he's doing, truthfully. Now, he can't go up there and when he's asked about 0 recruits say, well, I don't know what I'm doing. He'd say it more eloquently and poetically. So he has to just kind of BS. He's got to coach speak. He's got to just say words and just get through the question and move on to the next one. And knowing that after probably like 6 or 7, somebody from UK Athletics will step in and say, no more questions. That's too many questions. You all ask too many questions. No more. No more. He has no answer. And I think on Tuesday, this is why I'm probably as down on tomorrow as I am. I think on Tuesday was his way of just saying, I have no more answers for this team either. He has no answers for recruiting because he can't get anybody. And I'm worried that Tuesday was Mark Pope's white flag towel moment. Giving up. He looked like it. He's not doing like the super sad thing, but he's not doing the super angry thing. And what does Michael Scott say in The Office? He's all out of carrots. He's tried. You saw body language that was terrible. You saw Otega Owe just intentionally stepping out of bounds, which was weird. Mark Pope did have a weird quote about that, saying like when you're in that space, it can be really, really bad. Basically saying like they've just kind of given up. They look like it in Nashville. They look like a team that had given up. So why should we be confident that they can turn it around in Fayetteville against a ranked Arkansas team with a coach that wants there's not enough games left in his life for the revenge that he wants against the University of Kentucky. I think he loves Kentucky fans, and I think he looks forward to being embraced by Kentucky fans when he's done coaching, and I look forward to remembering all the great years that Calipari had at Kentucky. But until then, he's going to want to remind Mitch Barnhart and the athletic department and the administration and Eli Capilouto that you had me and you don't anymore, and how do you feel about it when we go head-to-head? Let's take our final commercial break. We'll come back. We'll read text into the Gameday Men's Health text line. That number is 502-414-1450. Tell you how you can win some free salsaritas as well. We'll be out at Salsaritas in a week. We'll tell you about that. Also, this is Kentucky Roll Call, one final segment of the week coming up next on the Big X.
I'm gonna wake up and change my ways one of these days. One of these days, I'm gonna find me a better way to live my life and carry on without the strife.
Matt Dennison here, inviting you to join me weekdays at 11 a.m. for the Hoosier Report. Complete coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, interviews with prominent figures in Kentuckiana sports, and discussion of other sports topics important to Southern Indiana. That's the Hoosier Report with Matt Dennison, weekdays at 11 a.m. on the home for the Hoosiers, 1450 WXVW.
Defining a new era in men's health, Gameday Men's Health delivers real results. No shortcuts. From testosterone replacement, weight loss, to peptides, vitamins, and sexual performance therapy, they will have you covered. From their in-house lab that gives you answers in just 15 minutes in our clinic that is designed for men who value speed, privacy, and most importantly, results. Visit GamedayMensHealth.com. Real men, real science, real change. Visit GamedayMensHealth.com.
Calling all young golfers. The PGA Junior League at Old Capitol Golf Club is the perfect way to learn the game, make new friends, and compete in a fun, team-based environment. Open to boys and girls of all skill levels, our PGA Junior League is coached by PGA professionals, helping kids build confidence on and off the course. Join the team and experience golf like never before. Sign up today at Old Capitol Golf Club and let's tee it up. Visit oldcapitolgolf.com to register now.
Hey, I love salsaritas. Why? Flame grilled meats, house-made chips, fresh-made salsas for fast takeout, office catering, or your summer celebration. Try salsaritas. Visit them at St. Matthews or in Middletown, or order online for special offers.
We know to contact Indiana 811 at least 2 working days before every dig. Contact Indiana 811 and white line before every project. Learn more at 811.safedigindiana.com. Sponsored by the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission and aired by this station.
T.A. Jenkins and T.A. Jenkins Company, LLC, proud sponsor of high school basketball on the Big X. Call Terry Jenkins at 812-989-7381 for your residential and commercial construction needs. Design, build, or remodel, it's T.A. Jenkins Company, LLC, located in New Albany. Email Terry at tajenkinsco.com. That's Ginkins, T.A. Jenkins Company.
The plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and HVAC technicians of Local 502's commitment to excellence can be seen in our community every day. The KFC Yum Center, Ford Motor Company, and the Omni Hotel are just a few examples of their professional craftsmanship. Local 502 has been part of our community for over a century and invests over $1 million annually training skilled local workers. Members of Local 502 are your friends, neighbors, and children's coaches. For more information, go to lu502.com. Local 502, built on excellence, building a better tomorrow.
If you haven't been to Valley View Golf Club lately, you'll hardly recognize it. Building off improvements already made with tap-ins at our golf simulators, you can now visit the newly renovated 19th hole and outdoor patio with new furniture and plenty of shade by day and a fire pit after dark. Conditions of the golf course, services, and clubhouse renovations are other areas you'll see improvements. Individual memberships are nearing capacity, and there's
No big deal, producer Matt. So did you just have to fill air there for a little bit?
Yeah, I just talked about like what I think that Kentucky needs to do to win this game for about a minute or two.
What'd you come up with?
I said that I kind of followed up with what you were saying, that dudes like Mo Diabate and Isla Aberdeen have to step up. But I also said that I feel like in this game, you kind of need a little more help from Brandon Garrison, because I feel like Malachi Marino has struggled in these games of late in terms of, one, not getting into foul trouble too early, and two, when he goes up against teams that have pretty athletic and like bigs that you throw their weight around a little bit. I feel like he gets a little soft in the paint against those guys. I feel like whether that's a effect of him getting into foul trouble, he has to play a little safer. I feel like he's great in the paint at using his feet, getting into position. But when he goes up against guys that are just bigger, like they know how to use their size, or like they have that, veteran experience, I feel like he struggles. I feel like he kind of just lets dudes push him around a little bit. And I feel like a game against this, where you're going to go up against a guy like Brazil, who that's all he does is play hyper athletic and throw his weight around, you kind of need dudes like Malachi Moreno to kind of push back a little bit.
Yeah, and it always seems like Malachi needs a couple possessions to just get a feel for the physicality of the game. So if I was Arkansas and I was going against Kentucky, I would try to go inside right away. And I like Andre Yelovich, and I think he can add things to this team. He certainly hasn't been a world beater or an incredible difference maker by any stretch of the imagination. But you may want to start Mo Diabate. And I know him and Denzel Aberdeen, the offense just doesn't look great when those two are on the floor together for whatever reason. But you may just want to send a message that, hey, we're going to have Malachi and we're going to have Mo D out there, and we're going to be physical, and we're not going to get pushed around. And we'll see how they're calling this game. And if it's super ticky-tack, touchy, okay, well, we can adjust from that standpoint. Or if they're going to let stuff go, then be ready for a war. I don't know. I feel like if you're Pope, you got to switch something up. But he has been switching something up. He has tried. I'll give him credit for that. It's just nothing's worked. The injuries are a factor. It's just I'm also sick of seeing my favorite team lose by 1,000 points left and right. It just gets old. So that's where I'm at. If it just feeling sluggish, if you get home and it's time to play with the kids and you just don't have it in you, if that's getting old, highly recommend going to GameDayMensHealth.com. Just go to the website. You don't lose anything by going to the website, seeing what they can do for you. They're not going to do any shortcuts. They're going to get you results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, sexual performance therapy. Visit GameDayMensHealth.com. They're defining a new era in men's health. We are huge. Said that they did the Super Bowl jersey reveal and that it was boring and not important or didn't matter. Am I looking at the wrong Super Bowl jersey reveal? This is a great jersey combination for the Super Bowl.
I'm a person, I love extravagant uniforms. I feel like in games like this, I just can't stand that every Super Bowl you just see like these really, like the home team's wearing white, the away team's wearing their regular away colors. Can we just do something special for the Super Bowl for one time? Yeah. It's the same argument that like when Louisville Kentucky plays, I want to see Louisville Kentucky wear red and one wear blue. Like I think it's more fun.
Wait, isn't Seattle wearing their all navy?
Yes, they're normal all navy uniforms.
And you're wearing your all white.
Yes, they're normal all white uniforms.
It's a Super Bowl color rush, if you will. That's fun. That's cool.
That's not color rush.
It's color rush. It's color rush. It's color rush. All right. I see. It's all white. That's color rush. All navy. That's color rush. We're coloring. We're rushing.
The one thing I do like about it is I think since like the past decade or since the year 2000, whatever the stat was, the team that wears all whites won like 80% of the Super Bowls. So.
Wow! Congrats on your Super Bowl. You did it.
I'm ready.
That's very exciting.
I'm already celebrating right
fun.
now.
I'm with you. Like I would love if the Patriots wore throwbacks. That would be great. Seattle, they have incredible throwbacks as well. I'd love a throwback Super Bowl. You'd have to probably get both teams to agree to it, and it'd probably be hard to do. What Super Bowl number is this?
60.
Oh, this is 60?
I believe so. I'm not great with Roman numerals, but is it
What's the Roman
LX
numeral?
or is it XL? I think it's LX.
XL would be 40.
So this is LX.
LX would be, yes, that'd be 60. Well, then had all the more reason to wear throwbacks. I was like, if it's just some random year, then whatever. So that means we get Super Bowl 6-7 in 7 years. Maybe the 6-7 trend came too early.
If we can hold off the 6-7 trend until then it'll really pop off.
Yeah. Yep. And then Corey Price he will get mad at me if I don't mention that.
Wait till Super Bowl 69.
There you go. I'm glad that you did it, so I didn't have to. There you go. Which teams will be playing in that Super Bowl, producer Matt?
I'm gonna say the Oklahoma Oilers, because we'll expand and there'll be a new team, and the London Silly Nannies.
I didn't know where you're going to go with that, but it wasn't there. It wasn't there. The Oklahoma Oilers will be in Super Bowl 69. I like it. All right. Let's just take a break just in case they want to cut this ad. They don't want that part in it, certainly, so we'll move on from that. Hey, Salsaritas is trying to give away a Fiesta Pack. If you want a Fiesta Pack for the big game, you need to go to Louisville Salsaritas on Instagram. They're giving away a Fiesta Pack to one lucky winner to help celebrate the big game so you can be the party catering ruler. I guess you'd be second in command because somebody already has that position. You need to leave a comment on their Instagram post of who you think will win the big game. Tag a friend that you would share your Fiesta Pack with, and you get a bonus entry if you share the post. And you have until Wednesday to do all that. But again, don't you want to show up to your big game party with some big catering? Nobody does it bigger than Salsaritas. 3 locations in the Louisville area: Middletown, St. Matthews, and out in Bullitt County, right off I-65 in Shepherdsville. All of them can do catering delivery. They can have it waiting for you at the store. They'll help load it in your car on a cold day like today. And you can do it all at the touch of your fingertips if you download that Salsaritas app.
Just make sure you get in touch with TJ first so he allows it.
Well, yeah, you do have to, by law, you have to send me a picture of your catering setup, and I approve it or I disapprove it. And unfortunately, if I give it a thumbs down, you do have to destroy it and throw it all away or give it to a local food kitchen, either one. 502-414-1450. Let's get back to this text line. No, I like the Jersey matchup there, but I guess to each their own. It could have been more fun, but if they didn't do throwbacks, I think it was pretty much as. I'm just glad it's not like the Patriots wearing white tops with navy pants, and then the Seahawks wearing white tops or navy tops with white. Like at least
I will agree with you. I do like that they're both monochrome. Like
it'll be easy on the eyes, and that's enjoyable. A texter says, we live in a space where it can be extremely frustrating and challenging, but also rewarding. Everyone is looking for different things in the new era of college basketball, so that's something we'll continue to explore. Somebody's just sending us Mark Pope quotes now. That was what he was saying about why he has 0 recruits. We live in a space where it can be extremely frustrating and challenging, but also rewarding. Everyone is looking for different things in this new era of college basketball. So that's something we'll continue to explore. Do you think they want to play for just a coach that has their bleep together, maybe? Is that what it is?
I think
Could that be what it is, Mark Pope?
I think with some of his quotes, you could play the game of, like, is it a Mark Pope quote or did your girlfriend just break up with you?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, well, that could be some good off-season radio. Texter says, we had the best player on the floor versus St. John's. Yeah, JQ was the best player on the floor. I still think maybe you could make a case that St. John's was more talented, but Kentucky was relatively healthy that game, probably the healthiest they ever really were all season. So, we'll amend that one. You're right, Texter. Another Texter says, DJ off the bench. What a concept. He's going to play a ton tomorrow, by the way. All right, a couple betting angles. I said the same against Vanderbilt, and I promise you, when Kentucky's a top 5 or top 10 team, I will be annoying, and I'll be confident and I'll be fun. But at the end of the day, on FanDuel, you can get Arkansas given 6.5 points. That's my bet of the day. I haven't seen specific player props yet, but just 2 system ones that I would like if you can get any sort of odds on them. I think DJ Wagner will probably end up scoring like 12 to 15 points. Cal will play him a ton. They will let him score, or they'll make him a focal point of the offense. And he should, he's good at second chance points. He's good at getting inside. So he's a solid player, and him coming off the bench is a great luxury for Arkansas to have DJ Wagner coming off the bench. So I would take his, I don't know what the number would be, but I think he'll have 12 to 15. And then just because he annoys me so much as a player, I know he'll have a big game, but take the Brazil overs. He's probably, this kind of ticked me off. I said that Pope, there's nothing that he can say or do. It's not totally true. I didn't really care for his quote about how Vandy's big guys never hit threes, but they were 4 of 8 against them. And he didn't really finish the thought, but he said something along the lines of like, we had that baked in. And I don't know if he meant like we had that baked in that they weren't going to hit threes and then they did. But dude, this is high level. That's a top 20 team. This is high level D1 basketball. If a big man is wide open, he should be able to hit a 3. And yeah, I know yours can't, Mark Pope, but a lot of other teams can if they're absolutely comically wide open. So if Brazil, and he's a good shooter, he doesn't have to be wide open. He can have somebody closing out on him, and he'll still knock it down. So I think he'll probably have 12 to 15 points as well. So if you can get any player odds, or DJ Wagner and Brazil are odds that I would feel confident in just taking the over. You probably won't be able to get them, maybe one of them. But DraftKings is kind of selective on player odds. FanDuel, maybe even more so. But bet responsibly. I hope to be wrong. I just for Kentucky to come within 7 to 6 points, it would mean that they'd have to play pretty well. Goodness gracious, producer Matt.
I dropped my ring. Sorry about that.
Your ring? You're not married.
No, I wear a ring though.
Okay.
I keep it on my pointer finger.
Is it like sentimental? Do we not want to? Is it a good story or is it worth bringing up?
It's literally just I fidget a lot, so I just play with it in my hands because of anxiety.
Okay. All right, that's good. I was worried it was gonna be like, yeah, my late grandfather, like the last thing he did was pass it to me, and then it's gonna. Where do you go from there?
This has been a woeful enough radio show today, so I feel like I didn't want to bring anybody down.
You're right. You're right about that. A texter on the Gameday Men's Health text line says, Scooch is a different type of guy, man. He really is. He's a hilarious human. It's been a pleasure getting to know him over the last decade. It's similar to Trevor Kelsey. It's just like, these people are real humans and they exist and they're great. They're great people. Like we're better off getting to know these people. Scooch is hilarious though. He just walks around that place, Big X Sports Radio, like he owns it. Doesn't he, producer Matt?
Yeah, I think it's because he gets here first, flip-flops and all, shorts on, ready to go.
He just always has his arms crossed. He's got a little beer belly on him, just kind of pokes out. He'll like rest his arms up on it.
My favorite thing is when we have like a remote or something, and I'll tell him, be like, hey, tomorrow, do I need to get that equipment from you or from somebody else? He's like, what do you need the equipment for? Because he just like keeps it. Like, because I know he does this like high school basketball games. But I'm like, dude, can we just leave it here sometimes so I don't have to ask you all the time?
From the start of the Cal era to now, you can only rewatch 3 regular season games. The rest are out. What are the 3? From the start of the Cal era to now. Okay, guaranteed Monk, UNC, and Vegas. That definitely is up there. Regular season only. All right, then we got to do Anthony Davis, UNC at Rupp Arena, the block. Wasn't the prettiest or the best played game, but those were the 2 best teams in college basketball. And I know Kentucky beat Kansas in the national title game. If UNC stays healthy, they've run that back in New Orleans. I guarantee it. But so that's 2. And then goodness gracious, I'm probably going to end up forgetting one that was great. Oh, that's tough. So here's just some that come to mind. The Knox game against West Virginia in 2018, that was an incredible comeback. That was fun. Several Louisville ones come to mind, but the 14-15 one, well, the one for the 15 season, which took place in 14, Kentucky won 58-50. It was not a pretty game. It was probably one of the ugliest UL games you're going to see. But the defense in it and just how much those 2 teams hated one another, it was really fun to watch. I don't think that'd make my top 3, but it did at least come to mind. Oh, why am I forgetting? John Wall versus, a lot of John Wall ones. John Wall versus UConn, the UK U of L game with DeMarcus Cousins. Again, not the best game or the prettiest game. think like there's probably some last second shot ones are exciting, or, exciting plays. 2014 had some exciting regular season games before that exciting March. All right, but I guess at the end of the day, I got to settle on one, and I can't talk forever, can I? Okay.
I mean, you can. I'll just kick you off again.
This one loses a bit of its shine, so I'm not going to pick it. But 2019 home game against Auburn, that was incredible. Now Auburn would go on to eliminate that team, which was not as incredible. But they beat that Auburn team. What was it, by like 30? I mean, that was just an absolute thrashing, a total beatdown. I'll go, what was it? 20, was it that same season? UK versus Tennessee at Rupp Arena, where Kentucky just gave them the business. They gave them the business at Rupp Arena a couple times in a row. I think 2021 they did that as well. Or no, I guess it would have been 2022. At the day Joe B. Hall passed away. Yeah, I'll put that one at number 3, even though I can't off the top of my head think of the right year, although I think it was 2022. UK, Tennessee, Rupp Arena, the day Joe B. Hall passed away. Just a total thrashing. That made you think that UK team could win it all. A lot of good ones, though. Tough question. That's a fun trip down memory lane, thinking of John Calipari memories. A texter says, 10 years ago yesterday, John Calipari tweeted, "Every building we go to is T-shirt night. White out, black out, you name it." Yeah, I forget who tweeted this out. I wish I could give him credit for it. But it is funny that they're doing a T-shirt night against Kentucky. And to be honest with you, that may be Cal, he loves UK. He really, he doesn't like Mitch Barnhart, and he probably doesn't like some people in media. But I think he really wishes it would have worked out there. And that may just be his little, tip of the cap to Kentucky to be like, we'll do the T-shirt night against you all because you're Kentucky. And that's what happens with Kentucky. You get the T-shirt nights. That could be. But I did see an Arkansas media member who was like, who's going to tell them? And it was a screenshot of the ticket price at Rupp Arena last year. And there was the picture was, $636 tickets for UK or for Arkansas at UK. This was last year's game. Most expensive ticket for Rupp Arena in Vivid Seats history. It's like, okay, well, first off, how long has Vivid Seats been around? And then secondly, it probably was the most or one of the most expensive tickets in the history of Rupp Arena. I will buy into that. But some UK fan account tweeted it and was like, oh, man, did you think that ticket price was high because it was Arkansas coming to town? Which was so true. I mean, what a great point. That ticket price was high for John Calipari. That's why people wanted to watch that game. Cal could have been at Arkansas Central, and it would have been a high ticket price. It didn't have to do with the Razorbacks in the slightest. And that's so true. But it does have to do with Kentucky for you doing your own T-shirt night. And even a Kentucky team that's having a somewhat miserable season, and you're still doing your T-shirt night. Florida or Duke last year, but I thought the context of the tweet was Cal regular season games. Granted, you did say Cal from when Cal started till now. So I guess maybe you were including that. The Florida regular season game from last year would probably be in the conversation for sure. If you're just going best regular season games of the last 15 years. Duke one was good too. Always fun beating Duke. A texter says, how is Trevor Kelsey? Oh, how is Trevor Kelsey still kicking? And Catherine O'Hara passed. Underrated comedic actress. Well, they're not mutually exclusive. They're not related at all. And if you're wondering how Trevor Kelsey's doing, I think he's doing okay. Haven't talked to him in a bit. He's doing the real spiel, right?
Yeah, he does that with Roman. They try and do it at least once a week, I think.
Is Roman in the room with you right now?
He is not.
Oh, where's Roman?
Running a little bit behind, it seems like.
Running with Roman a little late.
Yeah.
Running a little late with Roman. No, he'll be there. I know it. He could answer that question of how Trevor's doing a little bit better. A texter says, in his 30s, never married, and a male roommate. Is it possible that Scooch plays for the other team? Not that there's anything wrong with that. There's not at all, obviously. He does not. He does not. That's what he has said to us. He's gotten into sex contracts and he's had girlfriends, and it has been a bit, but that, as long as he's happy, I'm happy. That's all I care about. Kansas or UCLA, 14-15 were both blast. Yeah, probably should have mentioned those games. At least should have mentioned them. Texter says, because it's just different here, TJ. It is. Remember, Cal was ruining our program, they said. It's different here. We can get any coach we want, they told us. Another texter says, need to have a Grateful Dead music day on the show. We can do that. We can do it whatever day next week. But Fridays are Billy String Fridays. And what's the bet tomorrow? I'm taking Arkansas first half full time, A-Cuff points, A-Cuff assists. Might throw Oweh 15 or 20 in there to really juice it. I gave him my bets. Go back and listen to the podcast if you didn't get to hear it. Another texter says he's talked about the game and how the show would be a little different now that he's running it. What's that referencing?
What was the text?
Oh, I don't know. Producer Matt playing FCC and all of a sudden just kicks TJ right off the air.
Had to show who's boss.
This is weird. Cal team top 10 offensively, but not very good defensively. Yeah, I think they're a little better defensively than they've let on. Scoots is sick as a dog, a.k.a. too much fireball. I think when this Cal team defensively kind of wants to turn it on, they can be a little bit better. Producer Matt says, this is my moment. Again, the text line has just been awesome, and we just have not gotten enough time. I'm only reset the Alex from Colgate so long. I'm so sorry we didn't get to it today. The second game against Cal got me thinking, considering he had a backcourt duo of Monk and Fox and Maxey Quickly, why did Cal not have more tournament success with them? Marches for guards. Well, he didn't get the one with Quickly, unfortunately. And then Monk, and Fox, they were cheated. Just flat out cheated, in my opinion. Everybody have a great weekend. I'm taking Arkansas, unfortunately, 89-70 over Kentucky. We'll be back on Monday to talk about it. For producer Matt, I'm TJ Walker. This is Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio.